This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
Hey, the top end of Stevenson, Grado!
Welcome to Football Daft. It is the daftest Scottish football podcast around. I am producer John, and let's welcome the team, shall we? First, a man who is devastated this week on two fronts. One, Rangers drop points to Motherwell, and two, more importantly, his man cave won't be ready in time for the Europa League final. It's Stephen Purden.
You know, like when yesterday I got, thanks for that introduction, nice to be here. Do you know, when I got the phone call yesterday, it's like, it was that feeling like when your agent phones you or something, you got excited and all that, right? And I seen it was, come up my phone, John Builder and all that, and I'm like, oh yes, man. Come off the phone like that. It's got to be July. It's not ready till the end of July.
I didn't think you get something done out the back door.
Grado, man, you're in a group, right? Why do you just leave the group chat and just catch up with the guys when we come on this?
Right, that man, we should really pronounce him as Grado Stivelli.
Do you know
this week? He's
do you know what, man? He's becoming
Italian.
a cheeky bastard these days. You know, ignorant bastard. You know, ever since he became a fucking Italiano.
Grado, for anyone
I'm not
that
talking about this again, man. I'm thinking it's my
for
favourite.
anyone that hasn't heard Rangers Daft, reveal to the audience what's happened to you this week.
No,
Do it in Geppetto's voice.
Do it in your Geppetto voice.
I'm
aye.
not a performing monkey.
Right, okay.
For the fucking right price, sure.
You're there.
We are.
Make sure it's Mickey's.
Come on, Grado, tell everyone what's happened to you this week.
No, look, nothing's happened to me. I just forgot. But
You just forgot.
well, my sister reminded me that my ma's father was full Italian, so I'm quarter Italian. I mean, I don't know.
No, it's funny.
I don't know why this needs to be an intro. It explains a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. I really.
What does it explain?
Well, I take a good tan.
What else it explain?
Like pizza.
But I love my macaroni. What more can
Well,
I
now
do?
macaroni.
Aye.
It's macaroni. No, I have to argue.
Macaron.
It's macaroni cheese. I believe that might be a Scottish invention, and I don't believe it's Italian.
No, it's not, because macaroni pasta is macaroni. It's macaroni and cheese might be a European thing, but macaroni itself is just the shape, the shell of the pasta. What you might be thinking it is bolognese. Italian people like myself, we don't.
It didn't take long, did it, no, boys? It didn't take long.
As Italians, man, we don't like when people say that spaghetti bolognese is
See,
Italian, because they don't call it bolognese all there.
no, yous don't call it bolognese either.
Aye.
See, whereabouts in Italy was your papa, Faye?
Fuck knows.
Anyway, to answer your question before... To answer your question, Grado, I'm not getting some done at the back. It's my double garage conversion's not going to be done till July.
Oh, right, man.
Right. Remember we spoke about this? Like,
It's nice to tell everybody that you're double garage and all that.
Just said double garage, mate. Fucking can't hide that.
Aye, but
Can't hide that.
No, it's my garage. My double garage.
Aye, it's every 2 seconds, man. Look at this video, man, in my new heart I've got. Look. There's another one on the group chat that nobody even acknowledged apart from me. I was trying to be nice to you.
Well, nobody acknowledged me yesterday when I was telling everybody it was Italian.
We acknowledged it, Grado. We've acknowledged it now. The man that's jumped off the bench that you just heard there, he's in for Chris, who's fucking, you can't hide money in this podcast, who's getting house renovations done at the moment. So Ryan from Celtic Daft has come off the bench. How are you, Ryan?
I'm alright, mate. I'm now thinking I need to get a fucking double garage or a shed built. I'm kind of underperforming this podcast.
Listen, mate, you just need to stick in with these ExpressVPN sponsors, man. That's how we make our dough, man.
Right,
Cut that bit out. Cut that bit out, man.
So Ryan, who normally edits the podcast, is on, so he's going to be able to see all the live edits as we the most popular phrase on this show, and you might see it sometimes in the outtake. Cut that, Ryan. Cut that, Ryan.
Aye, cut that, Ryan.
Live edit this, Ryan. So, what has been happening in Scottish football? Well, football kind of takes a back seat at the moment with everything that's going on in the world. The Scottish FA president, Rod Petrie, has written to his Ukrainian counterparts, sending a message of support, friendship and unity. The SFA is in talks with UEFA and FIFA over the matches with Ukraine, which are meant to happen on the 24th of March. The Scottish men's team playing obviously in the World Cup playoff, and the women's team are set to meet them on the 8th of April as well. And
did you say the Scotch men's team?
Scottish men's
Scotch?
team. No, it's Scotch. The Scottish men's team. And he said football is inconsequential and in conflict, but we've conveyed the strong sense of solidarity communicated to us by Scotland fans and citizens in recent days, and have offered support to our Ukrainian colleagues' preparations as best we can in these unimaginably difficult circumstances. I believe as well, I think they've offered training facilities and everything over here.
Yeah,
it's so up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen with that game. I can't see it happening.
It's only 3 weeks away. It's not going to happen.
No, it's like, as much as we want to see Scotland at the World Cup, it just, all this just takes
I was watching the thing there in Poland, man, and it's like the amount of fucking children, like wee wains on their manda's arms queuing up to get into fucking Poland and all that. I mean, all the stuff about football, that's fucking so far down the line, man. Absolutely. That doesn't matter.
By the way, shout out to that Zelensky guy, man. The scene just ridiculous.
Legend.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Zelensky, I mean, see if he's going for, like, negotiations with Putin or whatever, take the fucking Klitschko's in as your backup, do you know what I mean?
See, the thing is, right, I reckon, I don't want to get too political, but Putin's underestimated this guy because he is.
Oh, aye.
Because he was a comedian, the actor. You watch him, man, and you see the way he talks and the way he sticks up for his country compared to the way politicians speak that have been brought up with a politics background and stuff like that. A normal guy like him.
Yeah,
no, and I think he's I think Putin's underestimated Ukraine as a whole.
Absolutely.
Like the absolute sacrifices you can see, like every fucking man, woman, child making in that country. Do you know what I mean? It's incredible, and like
they were saying it on the
news. I think a lot of countries should take note. Do you know what I mean? The way they've handled it. Do you know what I mean?
They were saying it on the news though about him getting. I think he was expecting to go into Ukraine and then they'll go, oh, brilliant, Russia are here.
He was.
And then they've all fought back and he's went, fuck, right, whatever. He's panicked after that. But like you say, John, like football doesn't really matter when it comes to stuff like that. But
it doesn't.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, to be fair, with the game, because obviously you've got a World Cup coming up. You need teams to be there, so it'll be interesting to see what they actually decide with.
I mean, obviously, they pulled the Champions League from Russia. The Russian teams have been suspended from the competition.
Abramovich is putting Chelsea up for sale, basically. Looking for a buyer. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's mad. So, I mean, it's completely up in the air. And like you say, we'll see how the ball rolls out in the next couple of weeks. But our thoughts, obviously, with Ukraine and everything.
We, as a podcast, stand with Ukraine.
Absolutely.
Don't we, guys?
Yes.
Absolutely. 100%.
Someone we might not stand with, however, is David Goodwillie. He has returned to Clyde on loan from Wraith Rovers. 32-year-old former Scotland international was ordered to pay damage in a civil case in 2017. We know the story. Wraith Rovers paid an undisclosed fee with Clyde, and then the shit hit the fan after he signed a 2.5-year contract there, with everyone putting their oar in, sponsorships falling, volunteers quitting the club, the ladies team, setting up on their own, and now Clyde have taken him back. North Lanarkshire Council say they're reviewing all our commercial partnership agreements with the club following his return. Now, for me, this is I think this is really hypocritical, right? This guy has been at Clyde, I think it's about 4 or 5 years he's been at Clyde, right? So, nothing much said, because he kind of went under the radar a wee bit. There was a wee bit of kick-off at the start when he signed for them. He's, with Clyde, scoring goals, doing a really good job, great record. Wraith Rovers come and sign him, the shit hits the fan, right? Now Clyde have taken him back, and suddenly the sponsors are now turning around and saying, we think about pulling our sponsorship. It's really, for me, hypocritical.
I think what Wraith Rovers done is what Clyde in maybe any club should have done to begin with, because now you're just looking as if, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, man. I think going for Zelensky to Goodwillie, man, it's not a good fucking segue there, man.
No, I know. It's not.
It's not, man.
It's not a good segue.
It's just, I just look at it and go, I agree with you, John. It is a bit hypocritical. It is. I do agree with what you're saying there. Mm-hmm.
I mean, apparently I've heard from my sources and the rumour that the Clyde board actually rejected the chance to take him back, and then some supporters have kind of got onto it and sort of ushered him back in. So I don't know what the situation is at Clyde, but I think it's quite a hypocritical response.
Obviously what's happened is he's went to Wraith, opened that fucking Pandora's box of what's happened, because like you said, he snuck under the radar when he went to Clyde the first time. Then the sponsors have now seen that shit hitting the fan and went, we're out, man.
But a lot has changed in the world since Goodwillie signed with Clyde. That's the thing, because
yeah, you're right, Grado. You're right.
Very good point, Grado.
Right. Let's get on to the big story of the week, however, and it's one that I'm desperate to get your opinions on, especially now we've got Ryan on. To Celtic and Rangers are going to play an Old Firm derby outside Scotland for the first time.
We belong together, you and I forever and ever. You're my guiding star, and from the very first moment I saw you. Get your scarves, 50-50 scarves in there.
And now please welcome onto the pitch for the half-time draw, Mr. Donald Fisher.
Right, let's talk about it. So, Rangers and Celtic, they play in the Sydney Super Cup in Australia on the 20th of November. They're going to be playing alongside the A-League teams Sydney FC and Western Sydney Wanderers, while the Qatar World Cup is going under. An Old Firm down under. What do you make of it, boys?
Right, Ryan, you go first.
You go first, Ryan.
I get some fucking hell we are the people shit going on here, man. Like, combined, it's weird. It's a bit weird to team up the way they have done. I'll be honest with you, I've seen loads of folk on Twitter, both sides, Rangers fans, Celtic fans, livid. I couldn't care less. I really couldn't care less. When's the 20th, I think it is?
20th of November, yeah.
World Cup kicks off a day later, so if we get to the World Cup, say Scotland get there, or whatever, for whatever reason, there'll be no players left. There'll be no players at either team. It'll be a Celtic and Rangers 11. Let go. So it's not going to be an Old Firm game. It's not going to be the same needle. Nobody's going to care about it. Like, if you just beat us across there, but we end up beating you 3 times in the league, yeah, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, it means absolutely nothing to me. If I seen, are they getting the same money for this?
They're getting the equivalent of what they'd get for an SPL season.
$3 million, I think.
Aye,
is that right? Really?
Aye.
I mean,
so money talks. I mean, but they're not going to get that if Celtic just go or Rangers just go. They're only getting that because both of them are going combined. So you're right. It's a hail, we are the people kind of mash up here.
It's got a very kind of NFL playing at Wembley kind of.
Aye.
And I know a lot of, there's a lot of people that are angry about it. And I listened to James Bygrave. Is it Bygrave or Bygrove? Bisgrove talking about, Milan done it and Man U and Liverpool done it before.
Barca and Real done it in Saudi Arabia.
I think but that doesn't mean to say that's what makes the Old Firm special, as it's in Glasgow and it should never be done as a friendly, in my opinion. But I can see people are just losing their nut out. I think one of the reasons why the Rangers fans are losing their nut is because Australia are promoting it as the Ange homecoming. Which it's just an open goal for Celtic fans to rip the pitch at that. Rangers fans coming out for Angie's homecoming. There's the.
Gio gave him a bunch of flowers when they get there for the Old Firm game.
I want to see Gio. We played it there. I want to see Ange and Gio recreating the theme tune to Home and Away as a duet. I think that would be a beautiful moment on the pitch. So I mean, it is. I get what you guys are saying, but I guess money, like you say, money talks, and Rangers and Celtic as an old firm brand sell tickets. They could do this.
But it gets under Rangers fans' skins for the last 10 years when Celtic are tweeting the Glasgow.
The thing is, right, they won't even print our back. They won't even use our badge when we're playing them. They won't even call us. They won't even say we're the same team. They'll not even call it the old firm. It's like, but now they'll jump into bed with us because they want us to go, because they know if both teams go together, they'll get that money. And Rangers, for a Rangers perspective, on the year of exactly doing the same thing, and exactly the 150th fucking anniversary that year, we're jumping there to fucking jump into bed with Celtic to go. It's heavy banter, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, see if you're like Hearts and Hibs and that, and you're going, look at the cunts. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, it's no good. And Rangers, I seen somebody saying today, and they're bang on, man. See the thing with Rangers, which annoys me with this, which really fucking annoys me. See, as soon as, like, we get to the next round of like the Europa and all that, right? They can't fucking jump into your bank quick enough to take your money. See, when something's coming out, when season tickets are coming out, they're all early. See with this, they know the fans aren't going to be happy with this, and they've been fucking radio silence, man, and they've kept it under wraps, and it stinks, man. It's no nice. I don't like it.
I mean, it's not for, I guess, you guys as supporters, because it's for all the expats down south, because how many people are getting going on the away trip to fucking Sydney?
I just want to know how many my Jers points I get when I get a ticket for it. I bet I get a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, money talks, and I bet you'll watch it though. I bet you'll sit up and watch it.
6 o'clock in the morning kick-off, man. Fucking right.
Do you know the thing is, man? Money does talk, and see the thing. People having a pop at that Bisgrove and all that. It's not even his fault. That's what he's been brought in today. You know what I mean?
If anything, he's struck a good deal getting free. And what he has been paid today.
He's doing his job.
He's doing his job.
Just, the thing is, what you said
apart
today,
from taking on my idea about my Castor bum bags, and never got back to me about that.
Aye.
Under order from Stuart Robertson, I was there. That's another story. He never followed up.
Stuart Robertson's been copping it big times today, man. He's been copping it quite a bit.
They all have.
But, like you say, these guys are there to make money for the club. And when you turn around and, obviously Rangers, his last finances that were published weren't great. If they're making money and that means you get an extra player in, surely that's
good. That's just to pay off Ramsey.
That's true. Who?
I mean, Ramsey Street. They're playing in Ramsey Street.
There's a connection. I thought actually today Ramsey Street is going to be listed as like a historic thing. They can't pull it down. Ramsey Street is going to be listed as like a listed building that we have over here.
Brookside's still there.
Is it really?
I mean, didn't we? I see the boys we met Jimmy Corco outside Brookside. Just normal punter stadium.
Brilliant, man. The big Dean Sullivan legend.
Dean Sullivan.
Legend.
So we'll monitor that story as the weeks go on, but a lot of unhappy people on either side of the divide. And like we could have that beautiful moment, the half and half scarves singing.
John, enough.
Love it.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, John.
Well, it's brought you guys all together at least. Look at that. You're all turning on me now, so there you go. Right, before we get into the daft last week, we were talking disgusting stories. We've done that for the last couple weeks, and we've done... Can you make the boys boat? It's the fucked up version.
Oh, we still doing this.
Yeah. But they keep coming in, and I feel...
John, all I'm going to say, mate, is that I'm on the edge today. I'm on the edge, so be careful with us.
Right, okay, Ryan.
I could go.
Ryan's got the old dreaded COVID, so you might not be up for this, Ryan, so... Be ready, get ready, we are juice, all right? Here we go. So Stu sent this one. It's called Shitey Scat Story. I'm 18 at the time, my parents have gone on holiday, so I have a free house. Naturally, I'm not cooking dinner, so I buy 2 baguettes from Baguette Express. That's where you went wrong in the first place. 1 chicken mayo and 1 tuna mayo. Eat the chicken mayo during the day and put the tuna bad boy in the fridge for my dinner before going out on the plunge. So I go to eat this baguette and it's rock hard, so I stuck it in an oven for 5 to 10 minutes to heat up like Subway do. This was my downfall. It's about 2 a.m. and I'm 3 sails to the wind. No feeling great, so I leave the local club in Galashiels and start to walk along the street. In brackets, there's 2 other clubs and a pub in the street. 2 other clubs in Galashiels? Fucking hell. Anyway, I make my way to the next club and I feel like I've been taking a hit like from Tyson Fury in the stomach. instant sweat and me trying to keep the casual end up by walking like Vince McMahon into the third club's toilets. I walk in and I've shat myself. So I'm in this toilet, which is a single cubicle and 3 urinals. Shite is everywhere. I'm wiping my arse, leg, floor, arm, you name it. The boxes are like a burst Tesco bag of shite, which I need to dispose of. Nae bin. So in the moment of panic, I've tried to sneakily stuff them down the back of the cistern for them to tear and the runny shite to explode all over the toilet floors and walls. Put my semi-clean jeans up, bolted, never been back since, but I feel really bad for the wee cleaner. Would like to add, I was also slipping about all the cubicle as I turned into a shitey ice rink.
Chuff yourself, Stu. You start chuffing yourself.
Why are these people telling these stories on a podcast? Why are these people sending these in?
Because we're asking them to, and I'm like,
well, you're asking them me.
I like it's like Spud and Trainspotting, man.
So that was Stu. Oh God! Do you want to keep these stories coming in? At Football Daft Pod, if you want to send us more. There's loads have come in, but we'll maybe get to them over the next couple of weeks. Before we get into the daft, remember last week how we were talking about the last thing you remember that goes? We were talking about life flashing before your eyes. Yeah, before you die. Now, a guy's DM'd us the cornerstone in Twitter and says, not to be a big boring bastard about it, but it was just a point on the EEG that was carried out on the guy that had the cardiac arrest. Remember, we're talking about the guy EEG. We found out about Chris almost dying in the time capsule. He says, I know people who are working in the field of livestock welfare and they're having to revise the methods of killing chickens and stuff because they think there's a sensation after death. They've basically been recording the brain activities of these chickens and cows and what have you long after the death, and it goes on for some time. It's fucking wild, he says. So this has been happening, so they're going to have to revise how they kind of kill chickens and cows because of the life flashing before their eyes.
I'm actually interested in that, but do you know what's funny when you're telling that story is Grado's face, man. I'm actually quite interested in it. That shit gets me. I'm into that a wee bit. But Grado's face is like pure lara. That gif you use of the guy.
I don't get it. What they try to say is the chicken still can think after it's dead.
Aye.
Did he start that off by saying, don't want to be a big boring bastard, and then gave a fucking boring story after it?
I find that fascinating.
I'm kind of with John. I'm with John on that, I know. I like that.
What way did they kill the chickens, you know?
Do you just string a chicken's neck? Is that how they do it?
I think you just get a crack, just snap its neck, didn't you?
Oh man, that's full play.
What memories a chicken got?
You don't know, but a chicken could be like a chicken. See, for all we know, right? This one wee chicken could be pure fucking into this other wee chicken and want to like get together with this wee chicken. But his mate's like pure shagging this other wee chicken. This wee chicken could have memories like heartbreaking. What am I talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Have you
do I come and do breakfast radio with me?
Ryan, have you not seen the film Chicken Run? I mean, it's an epic tale.
Fuck hell, man.
Right.
I just for a River City there, man.
Right, okay, we'll move on from the chickens then. Now for the daft story of this week. Would you like to hear about the luckiest man?
Is that not been enough daft?
No, here we go. Would you like to hear about the luckiest man in the world? Would you like to hear about the reporter that was embarrassed by his maw? Or would you like to hear about the 9-year-old boy who ran away over 1,600 miles from home?
I saw that newsreader thing. It was quite a cute wee video, wasn't it? He's lost up now.
I want to know about the news reporter get embarrassed by...
That's what we're saying. He was doing a news report.
Will we play the clip?
Aye, go.
Right, okay.
Aye.
This is my mom. Hold on. I'm trying to work right now. You over there calling my phone. This is D'Angelo. You can say hi. And don't be holding up because you got
that's nice, isn't it?
That's cute, man.
That's like when I remember I turned up with my full family for that recording
Aye.
one day.
What was your auntie's name again?
Margaret Rose.
Aye. Is that the steady drama bit where you told you left the boat and all that?
Aye. We were running lines.
Aye.
And one of the lines was something like somebody, we were running lines right before it, and I think maybe Bob had a line like something, "Aye, all right, fat boy" to me. But my mum was standing at the side, and she thought he was actually calling me it for real. She was going, "Who are you talking to? My boy's not fat." I was like, "Well, we're running lines. It's not real." and then
his auntie kept talking all the time, man, and Grado actually nearly lost the point. So like, "You're going to have to go. You need to go."
Well, that leads me on to my question, and maybe you've covered it there, but mows are very embarrassing. And is there any point where your mows really embarrassed you?
I remember seeing your mum, man, in the middle of the aisle with pantomime Bob pure dancing.
My mom can be quite embarrassing when
really
we don't talk there, but man. No, like I remember my granny, right? Grado, you would have loved this, man. I don't know if there's footage of this kicking about, man. Because Grado loves digging up on my old STD things I used to do, man. It was one time, right? Me and Des McLean were doing a thing called Too Good to Waste, right? And it was all about saving the planet and all that and recycling properly, right? And it's why they had STV things, man. Like I was saying earlier on, you'd do in for money, right? It's like, but I was getting into Morrison's. Oh shit, hold on. I was getting into Morrison's, right? And I was to go run with this woman. I can't remember her name, it's terrible. She's quite famous, but I can't remember her name, it's so bad, right? And I do a food shop. She analyses my food shop and then tells me what I could be buying that's better for the environment. Like what are you buying like 24 toilet rolls for? You don't need all that kind of stuff, right? So then you can imagine what I'm like, mate, turning up to shoot this with a fucking wee mini STV crew and a camera in my face, and we're at the Morrison's down at Brigton, right? Not down at the Carlton, right? And we walk in, and my granny and granda are walking by the fruit and veg aisle, right? And I'm like, "Oh no, man," right? And my granny's like, "Oh, there's your Stephen. Yeah, what are you doing over here for City here, son?" And I'm like, "No, Granny Rose, man." I'm like, it's a programme for STV. And I swear to God, right, the sweat was fucking dripping down my back, man, and down the crack of my arse. I was feeling going, I need to get the fuck out of here, man. Because people are walking by going like that. People are going, "There's wee Bo. What are you doing?" And my grand's like, "That's my grandson." And this mad snobby fucking woman who's going on about, "So we're going to get going here, we get the shopping." And I'm like, "So what is it you do?" She's like, is it a soap you do?" And I'm like, "Aye, it's a soap I do." So I'm like, "Come on, let's get the and I was like, "What are you doing? Are you buying your messages? Where are they from when you buying your messages for?" And my granddad's pure serious. He's dead now, man, but he's pure serious. He was like, at the time, man, he thinks he knows what he's talking about. He's like, "They might be doing a take, Rose. Stop talking." He's like, "Leave him alone, Rose. Come on." Oh, it was, honestly, man, it was the worst.
Oh,
Brilliant.
Oh, it's fucking funny, man.
Fantastic. Ryan, you got any stories your mom embarrassing you?
No, really, mate. My mom's just embarrassing all the time. Like, see, I'm one of these people who gets fucking mortified by your mom because you can't go to a restaurant with her. We are like picking out everything that happens around. She's like, that's fucking bogging, and she complains, and I'm just like sitting there mortified, like absolutely mortified, man. It's a fucking pain in the ass.
Mate, Grado, your mom and our pals were class when you used to come to the panel, man.
Aye, man, you can when my mom and her pals feel like a wee club would come in the first week in January, and you would just see a wave of all these women's big boobies, man, just pure bouncing. They were all dancing, man, to every song, man. You saw these fucking waves of boobs, man, just pure flopping over the gap. That's my boy!
Brilliant.
It's funny, but see the one thing I did to take off, man. See when I done my documentary, right? Obviously, my mum was not well in that. She was on like disability, right? She had like disability stuff, but she fucking. So they go, you know how when they're doing documentaries, they need to get wee bits of interview, and they go to stunning Iron McClay's.
I remember that.
Right, well, no, I don't know, because I think it get taken out, right? Because, like, see, the day before it was meant to come out, I think there was maybe like a clip in the preview. My mom was stunning Ireland, and my mom was like, "You need to get them to take that out. I should have been stunning Ireland." And I had to go through, honestly, at the BBC were biffing it. They basically had to take out her son in Ireland because my mum always felt that she was going to get like shopped for like bumping disability, even though she was no well. On the phone to going, but Maureen, you're only standing ironing for about 3 seconds. I don't care, get out.
Current producer at the BBC is fucking no messing with the Stevie. Okay, brilliant.
I've got me ironing.
Right.
No, Graham.
Hey, listen, if you've got stories here more embarrassing you, please get in touch with us at Football Daft Pod. We'd love to hear them on the podcast next week. So this week's podcast, we've got Football Daft Focus. We're going to be talking to a Dundee supporter, a Dundee stalwart. His dad was chairman of the club. He's also the voice of new music in Scotland. Friend of mine, Jim Gellatly, is going to be on to talk about everything that's going on at Dens at the moment. On the big question, we've been inspired by the Buffs this week, Grado. The haggis sausage toasty is blowing up the internet. So we're asking,
that looked good.
Best scran you've ever had at the football. The player profile will be here with the chance to win pies talking about food. Grado, you've got 3 riddles.
I forgot.
Oh, brilliant. And on teammates, it's Ryan's the Inverness legend, Charlie Christie. It is time for Football Daft Focus. We talk about the big talking points in Scottish football. Now, Dundee currently sit bottom of the Premiership as they look to scrap out with St Johnstone against automatic relegation. James McPake's been sacked in recent weeks. Mark McGee's been brought in. But what have the supporters made of it all? On to tell us about that, he's the voice of new music in Scotland. He's broken just about every band you've ever heard come out of Scotland. This is the man that's played them, whether it's been on Beat 106, XFM Scotland. He's also a Dundee diehard, however, and he joins us all the way from the Falkland Islands, where he's currently working with BFBS, Services Radio. It's Jim Gellatly.
Hi, Jim.
Hey. Hello. John, I like that intro. I'm good, thank you. I like that intro. Currently bottom of the league. I like that.
Jim, what is happening?
8,000 miles is a long way to come to avoid Dundee getting relegated.
It's not looking good though, is it, Jim? It isn't looking like it's Jenkins got a chance.
Stephen, it's just horrible, and I'm never a guy for getting managers sacked. Neil McCann would still be the manager if I had my way, because I liked the football that was being played. Mm-hmm. James McPake coming in as a young manager, so because he was a Dundee hero and still is, so wanted him to succeed, but it just something had to happen. But I don't know if the right decision has been made, and it's certainly a strange time, after the transfer window closes, to get rid of your manager when you're looking doomed anyway. So I'd have given him till the end of the season.
It's a strange one, and we're always moaning on here about how there's just like a merry-go-round of the same Scottish managers that just get tossed about, and it feels as if there's no creativity. And again, with Mark McGee, I know you're saying you don't know how you feel, but what is the kind of general feeling for the Dundee fans, your pals and stuff like that?
I don't think there was much joy when Mark McGee was announced as the manager. But I mean, it's a tricky one. It just needs to turn it round, and it'll be fine. I mean, the strange thing is, first game, a decent performance against Celtic. Yeah, we got beaten, but then absolutely thrashed by Livy at home. You can't do that. Your home debut as a manager, that's no good.
No. And it doesn't help that he's got a touchline ban himself as well. Do you know what I mean? That's no.
Well, that is truly strange, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Coming and doing that, and I don't know if you saw the footage with the fan and the director's board.
We did.
It's my favourite moment of the weekend, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's just if you're in charge of a team and it's not going well, and somebody comes up and asks for a selfie, you're not gonna go, oh yeah, no problem, and look jovial, because then you'll get criticised for that. So it's in an impossible situation, but it's not a good look. Not a good look at all.
No, definitely not.
Jim, see when they sacked McPake, did they not have a couple of decent results? Were the performances not kind of turning when they sacked him?
Well, that was the thing. They just beaten Hearts. So, and you know, and through to the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup. So, I mean, Stephen, Rangers in the next game. I mean, what will happen, of course, is, you know, we'll do terribly in all these games, and then we'll end up beating you guys.
Mate, do you know something? I wouldn't be surprised.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed.
Ryan crossing his fingers up, because it's like, as soon as Rangers leave Ibrox Stadium, hold on, buddy, somebody trying to phone me. As soon as Rangers leave Ibrox Stadium and go away from home, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen. So you've got a chance.
But it's Dundee all over. Inconsistent, going right back to when I was starting to follow the club as a youngster in the late 70s, 80s. 1980, I remember, it's my all-time favourite game. Dens Park, Dundee 5, Celtic 1. Tommy Gemmell was the manager. We still got relegated.
All right. Jim, you don't like that. You don't like that all to be remembering games in 1980 and going to games then.
I'm an old man, Grado. I'm an old man.
Is it? See, what's it like when you grew up in Dundee? In terms of, do you pick United or Dundee for what your family have followed throughout the years, or is it? How does that work up there?
Yeah, I mean, my family were heavily invested in more ways than one in Dundee Football Club. So my grandfather was the chairman when they won the league in the 60s. And my father, he was the secretary in the 70s and became the chairman as well. So I mean, my family heavily part of Dundee Football Club until sort of the mid to late 80s. Gellatly was very much a part of Dundee Football Club.
That's amazing. That's majorly in your blood then. Majorly.
Never mind all this Dundee carry on stuff. I'm just looking. John is right. So you were the first guy to start playing Biffy Clyro and Katie Sunstall for the telly. Aye, that's.
I honestly see.
Interesting, man.
Beat 106 in XFM off. Honestly.
And Grado and Stephen, a bunch of bands you've never heard of as well.
Jump through everything at the wall.
To be honest. If you've never heard of them, I was playing them before you never heard of them.
Wow. Did you ever get a lot of stick-off bands?
About what?
I don't know.
They're not playing them, yes.
Aye, just like, why you not playing us and take this and here's a wee CD and there's a wee £20 note to play us or anything like that.
I never got that, but you still get stick because every young person that's in a band think they are the best band in the world. That's and it's true. When somebody comes back to you 20 years later and says, "Aye, you played us on the radio, but we were shite." Like, yeah, all right. So what is that? Are you saying thank you for me playing you on the radio, or are you saying I'm useless because I played your band and you weren't very good?
Aye.
So there are bad bands, but every band has at least one good song, I like to think.
Yeah, we'd be thinking that, Jim. You did play some shite though, but
you did play some shite.
John, you can talk, man.
Well seen, Jim's in the fucking Falklands, man. John's getting right.
I know. I'm saying it now. Going back to Dundee, Jim, like, has it been on the park? What's been happening in the park that's gone so wrong for you this season?
I don't know because I've not been at the games. I'm in the Falkland Islands.
I've still been watching them, Jimbo.
Only get the wee highlights because data's at a premium here, and they don't show many Dundee games live on the telly here in the Falklands.
So maybe Dundee boozers out there, like in the Dundee the Falkland Islands.
I was in the NAFI wearing my Dundee top the other week, and a chap comes up to me and says, it's a Dundee top. Best team in the world.
Shut
So,
up,
I'm not
really?
the only one here. Yeah, I'm not the
That's
only one here.
amazing. That's amazing.
And then Jim got kicked out of the pub for being too steaming.
Am I right in saying you are struggling for a goalkeeper for the game tonight?
Really?
Yeah, it's a funny one. So the young lad, he's not available. Legdon's he's injured as well. So we just got the chap Lawler. So I don't know, but you only need one goalkeeper on the pitch unless you're Chelsea.
that was embarrassing for the boy keeper. That was embarrassing.
I mean,
sorry
that was imagine, but I could imagine if he saved any. He never saved any of them.
No.
What's the point of him coming up? And then he's the one that has to take that final
I
kick.
know.
You knew what was going to happen. Didn't you?
It was the one with Van Dijk taking it and he's stunning at the left one side of the goal, and Van Dijk still strikes it that way and he
Still smashes it there.
Aye.
So, Jimbo, are Dundee going to be saved this season, or do you think you're doomed?
See, at the start of every season, I always put a couple of quid on Dundee to do well. I think I wasn't quite as optimistic this season, so I had £1 on them to finish in the top 6. So sometimes I'll have them. I'll the odds are decent. Dundee win the league. You never know. Look at Leicester City.
Do a Leicester.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's never going to happen. Are Dundee going to be safe? Nah. Even if it was such a brilliant season how it ended last season. I mean, they didn't play well last season, but they managed to get to the final of the playoffs and beat Kilmarnock, which surprised me.
That's so good games.
So, I mean, we'll be lucky if we get to the playoffs, but I can't see us doing anything in the playoffs. So the Championship's a great league.
And then, mate, bring back the Caballeros and the Canijas and the Ravenellis.
Ultimately it didn't work, but the Mars had good ideas about how you'd sell them on and things, and for any Dundee fan, that was an incredible time to be a supporter. I'm not quite old enough to remember the heyday of the early 60s and getting to the semi-final of the European Cup and stuff like that and winning the league. But, for me, that was the finest time to be a Dundee supporter. And again, I was away when Kenichia made his debut at Pataudry. I was working in London and I was staying with a bunch of Aberdeen fans, a band actually called Lift from Aberdeen, and I was kipping with them when I was working in London. And it was pre-broadband, so it was dial-up. And the guy that had the flat that we were staying in, he had the internet at the top of the building. So we managed to get a wire and feed it down to one of the guy's computers so we could listen to the Radio Scotland commentary and Kenichia's goal.
Did you never meet the Devil's Advocate? No? Di Stefano. Did you ever meet him?
Never met him. I can't wait to watch the documentary.
It's good.
I know, I'm looking forward to watching that, actually.
It's good, man.
Well, Jim, thank you very much for joining us all the way from the Falkland Islands. We need to ask you the question before you go, though. What band should we be looking out for now?
Oh, that's a question I'm asked every day, and it changes every day.
Right, okay.
I'm going to name a band that have roots here because they were sort of formed, or the idea of the band came about at Mount Pleasance Complex, where I am at the moment. But they're sort of from the north of Scotland, and Guy Craig that sort of leads the band. He's serving in the RAF, so he's been based in Lossiemouth recently. I think when I go back to Scotland, we sort of cross paths. He's coming back to the Falklands, but they're a band called Club Beirut, and they're named Club Beirut because the corridor, the area where they lived here, was a bit like Beirut because it was a bit messy. So Club Beirut, sort of electro pop stuff. It's really, really good. But there's loads I could recommend, but I'll go with that one because there's a sort of connection to the Falklands.
Right, Club Beirut.
Brilliant, super. Jimbo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really, really appreciate it. When are you getting back from the Falklands?
Late summer, year summer, when it becomes winter here, because it's sort of the end of summer here. So it's lovely.
Right. Nice.
Beautiful, man. That's amazing. What a life, man. What a life.
And my wee pals say hello as well. He's supporting Penguin with its blue nose.
Yeah, staunch.
I think it looks more like a Rangers blue, actually, doesn't it?
Brilliant. Jim, thank you so much for coming on Football Daft. Best of luck to Dundee for the rest of the season.
All the best, Jim.
Pleasure. See you later, boys.
All the best, Jim.
Bye.
Football Daft's big question.
So, guys, I don't know if you've seen it this week, but Grado's beloved Buffs have made the Footy Scran Twitter. That Twitter page here, you follow that, it's brilliant. See Footy Scran from across the world. They've got the haggis sausage and cheese toasty, which looks unbelievable, I have to say. So that led us to this week's big question. What's the best scran you've ever had at the football?
By the way, although I was so proud of the Buffs with that, the Buff special, have you saw the Arbroath one?
No. Is it?
Oh my God, man. You need to see the Arbroath. It's steak and black pudding pie. Wait to see if you need to go and put it and see it.
Oh, mate, I did see that.
Honestly. And I seen somebody in my Facebook go, I have not stopped thinking about this for the last 24 hours.
I need to see it, man.
Right, type it. I've got to wait and see this thing. I'm not joking, right? This is, honestly,
so what we're saying is...
Type in Arbroath at Footy Scran into Twitter.
Right. If you're listening, do that right now on the podcast so we can all salivate together. Arbroath, steak and black...
No, just type in steak and black pudding pie Arbroath.
Right, okay.
220 or not.
Right, here we go. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
You see this, Paul Brown? You see it, Brown?
Oh,
mate, I honestly, as soon as I seen it, I was salivating.
Oh, that looks steak and black pudding pie. Fuck me, man. Mate, Rangers are in the dark ages with a grub, man.
Oh, it's embarrassing, isn't it, man?
It's so bad.
Brick solid pies and...
that looks the absolute dog's nuts, man.
Don't get me wrong, I'm used to like the king prawn, kind of the langoustines and the silver side of beef and stuff like that. So they don't do too bad with that, mate.
Aye, mate, when we go to directors' box now, it's banging, it's brilliant. But we're not there every week, Graham. Some days are down there. Know what I mean? We're down there, like I'm down there with my boy the other day. I walk in, I say, can I get a steak pie and a hot dog? The boy goes, we don't sell hot dogs.
They don't sell hot dogs?
No, John, the day, I was like, mate, what's that? And the wee lass the next thing went, aye, mate, went and go to hot dogs. And I'm like, it's like, I'm guys, come on. You know what I mean?
No. See, if I tend to maybe get something, I like to get chips and curry sauce, loads of salt and vinegar in one of the wee kind of bullet vans.
Aye, the wee booth thing. Like, I do that, but see, I've got my boy with me. My boy wants to get a hot dog every time we go. He loves the hot dogs at Ibrox, know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you got any other examples? So, Rangers getting the thumbs down. Can you remember going to an away ground, getting some good scran there?
Well, I always made a point every time going to Rugby Park to get the Kelly pie.
It was always a Kelly pie.
It's went downhill though. They changed the supplier, didn't they?
Aye, they all fell out, I think.
Aye.
Never fell out.
Never fell out. What's the grub like at Celtic Park, Ryan?
It's all right, mate.
It's not got a Domino's.
Well, no, we've got a Domino's in one section, which is where the Green Brigade are. I don't know how they've managed to wrangle that one, but they've got a built-in Domino's. The rest they just get pies. Although we do vegan stuff now, which is
interesting. You've got a built-in Domino's?
Aye, mate, down in that bottom corner. Because I went for what did I go for again? I never really sat down there. It was a Scott Brown testimonial a couple of years ago. I had a seat down in that corner, and I walked in. I was like, "What the fuck?" I actually sat in my seat by a Domino's, mate. It was fucking brilliant.
What the fuck, man?
So good.
Is there no Rangers not getting sponsored by Black Rooster Peri Peri or something like that? Is there no some plans to get that in as well?
I'll be alright.
What do you
get? Got a Black Rooster, man. See if you've got a Black Rooster, man. I'll convert. I'll start going to Rangers games, mate.
If we did get back, I'd be chuffed with that, man. That's good grub, man. I go to that quite a lot.
Is it just like a kind of knockoff?
It's a better Nando's. In my opinion, it's better than Nando's.
There you go. Falkirk Grub Grado, in answer to your questions, no brilliant. Not very good at all. It's just the standard fare, nothing special.
Standard fare.
You've got to put a shout out, I have to say, the Dunfermline Bridie, the bakery that does
Dunfermline
stuff is top top of the tree.
Does that not break your heart a wee bit, John?
It does break my heart a wee bit. The beaters and the fakes.
Lassie that worked on Two Doors Down, she's for Dunfermline, and I had mentioned to her, I says, I'm desperate to try a bridie for them, for what is it, East End Park? And the next day, she brought me back. She brought me in the 2 bridies, and they were tremendous. And apparently, it's 24 hours you can get them. It's like there's like a drive-through for them.
Yeah, there's a 24 hour.
Aye, there's a 24-hour one.
Even Stephen's the bakery. That's who do that. Absolute
John,
class.
do you go there, mate, and just get one and just take a bite? Go, that's quite good, and spit it out. Spit it out again.
That's what I'd be like with a pepperoni passion at Park.
Right, punters have been in touch. Let's kick off with Ross. He says before it was allowed in, the stadium bar had a wee snack bar inside.
I remember that.
Did a roll called the Scooby Snack, pretty much what Isa ordered at the cafe in Still Game, but that was the days before the bevy. Don't eat at the football these days.
John says he had a currywurst at Schalke. I take it that's a big old sausage.
I love it. I had that Hertha Berlin. I mean, that was great. I don't know if you've watched football in Germany, but just a big pint in your hand, currywurst.
Oh, class.
Brilliant.
Class, man. Craig has got in touch. He said, had this spiced chicken burger when I was in Nashville to watch Nashville v Chicago. In total, it cost me about £11. And Craig has also attached a photograph of the aforementioned chicken burger, which I would eat up, no bother for £11.
Nashville versus Chicago, is that in football? Or
it's MLS or something.
That's Chicago Fire, yeah.
Mate, that looks unreal. You shouldn't get that at the Fitborough. That shouldn't be a Fitborough meal.
It looks cracking, man. It does. It looks really good. It does.
Right, Ryan, it's your turn. You can do it today. You do Gary's.
Oh, you got me day one? Right, okay. Gary says, used to love a Premier pie and a Blue Nose burger at Ibrox. Can't wait to try the steak haggis and peppercorn sauce pie for Pie Sports on Friday.
I remember the Blue Nose burger and all that. And
what is a Blue Nose burger? Is it just a burger with a fucking gimmick?
I used to remember it was all the names on it. It was
pizzas and all that. About was the names. I can't remember.
Did you get like a? Was it? Am I right? Was not like a Loudrup lasagna one time?
Aye.
Wow! Please tell me they had the nachos.
No. Did they have a basil bowly soup or something like that? Or is that
bowly soup?
Or something?
Bowly soup. That is no true, Grado. That is no true. That's like the rumour that, what was that, a pie and a Bovril adds up to the amount that gets $16.90 from a £20 fucking...
Remember that?
That's
Containage, man.
Right, John goes steak pie from East End Park. That's from the Baillieston True Blues.
Yeah. Come on, Grado.
Oh, John says Domino's and a snow cone watching Real Salt Lake.
Oh, fair at this mob. I mean, fucking spicy chicken burgers at Nashville v. We're talking about Bridie's for East End Park.
Aye,
you know what I mean?
Man.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Regan says a steak and sausage pie at Firhill. You can't really get any more Scottish, like
that's our friends at Pie Sports that do the pies at Firhill, so that'll be one of those ones. Then they're pretty good. I've had one of them.
That's impressive, man.
Nice. Matty says the steak bridies for Dunfermline, John's favourite.
Keep coming up. Will says, and Grado, you can maybe confirm this one since you're a regular at the hospitality. Rangers club deck in the old days when you could have a steak sandwich.
No, club deck's
no hospitality. It's just a stand, John.
It's just a stand, son.
Was it not? Is that not the
club deck's just it's a tap tier. It's no hospitality.
Do you have to pay more for a ticket up there? Do you?
No, I would say my mate Bert sat in there for about fucking 16, 17 years before he sat with us. I think you could get a club deck ticket for the same prices.
Well, steak sandwich.
I don't know, but you might have a point. Maybe it was dearer on the first. I don't know.
I thought the club deck was always the kind of like it was like you had the normal tickets and then the club deck was the next kind of level up. Before.
No, with bond seats. No, my fairies have a bond seat in the club deck.
My mate Bert sat in a club deck since he was fucking like 16. He had a season ticket there and he just sat with us. He just moved with us about 6-7 years ago. But there's wee bits in the club deck also like Club Europe and all that. Do you know what I mean? You've got like wee bits where but mostly the club deck was always just the club deck. Anyway, we're getting away from the point here, guys. You know what I mean? We're getting away from the point. Who's next, Graham?
Andrew, he says, Scotch pie at Melbourne Park, home of the Vale of Leaving Juniors. I've seen the Buffs play there. Fire it in a roll, makes it even nicer. Oh, it's not better than a roll of pie, man.
Neil says, Stenhouse Muir back in the 90s used to be sponsored by one of the local takeaways, the 4-in-1, who took over the pie shop. Oh man, what a time to be alive that was.
I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often.
I know.
Like the local kebab shop or the local chip and going, fuck it, we'll take a fryer on Saturday and go to town.
Well, Steny have had sponsors like 4-in-1 is a decent takeaway around my bit, and they used to be sponsored by the Gulnar, which is the best Indian in Falkirk. And I thought, yeah, why did that? More of that should happen, Grado. You're right.
Aye.
Imagine get Picora at the football.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure that there's. I've seen places that they Picora and all. So
I've had Picora. I've had Picora in the direct.
In fact, did they know they Picora at Ibrox? Is that what I'm thinking about? In the 90s.
Only the posh sheets, mate. Only posh sheets.
What would it have been? The Perini Picora?
Aye, something like that.
Right, last one then.
And finally,
last one, mate. Stuart says the Buffs takes a bit of beating. I might be biased. The missus makes it. Make phones.
Oh wow!
Get Stuart.
We need to try it. We need to.
Aye.
Come round to my bit and I'll try it on the show. But it needs to be gluten-free breed that she uses now because I'm gluten-free now. So.
Are you still gluten-free?
It's the last 2 weeks I've been gluten-free, man.
Aye.
Well, I'll get there.
Next Stuart, if you're listening, get yourself out of Grado's gluten-free bread, make that toasty, get your missus to make the toasty, and we'll do a live tasting on the podcast next week, all right?
Oh, there is. I'm sure I'm saying I think it's a roll that she uses because down the right with the specials they use rolls. So it looks amazing, man. All
right, so panini, gluten-free panini, and do that for Grado. Thanks very much. And that's this week's big question. It is the player profile playoff with piesports.com. They are bringing you the taste of Scottish football to your door. Lots of great pies on offer, lots of packages to choose from. We talked about the steak and the sausage pie on the big question this week. And of course, the one that is on everyone's lips at the moment, the doner kebab pie, which you can get up there right now. If you can't get online, though, give them a call, 0141 739 9999, 0141 739 9999. They will deliver to postcodes for free of charge right across Scotland, so just check on the website for details. We like to give away pies on Football Data Hour, and let's try and give them away right now. On the line to play for the pies this week, it is Scott, who's a Celtic supporter. Hello, Scott.
How are we doing?
Not bad, my man. Good to have you on, mate. Good to have you on.
Oh, good. Like the Gaza haircut, man.
I know, mate. Pure handsome boy, man. Handsome boy, mate. I mean, like, you see, that's a Gaza haircut.
Scott, would you like to join us in singing with Grado and Stephen the home and away theme tune, the Hands Across the Divide for the game of Australia?
I know, man. Mate, you've missed that. We were singing that to start, man. Just waiting on the 50-50 scarves coming, mate. You know what I mean?
You'll release a new kit for that homecoming tour, won't you?
You're fucking spot on. They won't.
Mate, you're bang on, mate. That'll do it next week.
The group chat, one of my pals is having a meltdown. He's saying they're boycotting the game tonight, all sorts. He's saying, wait and keep Story bringing out a kit.
Oh, mate, it'll be this straight. What is it, man? The fucking Sydney Cup anthem jacket.
Half Rangers, half Celtic, the Australian Star and all that.
Yeah, wee badge on it with Andrew's face in the middle, man. Commemorating him.
What have you made of it, Scott?
It is a bit of a disgrace, isn't it? Like, mate, it's all for Anne's going back to Australia, right? I don't see why Rangers would want to be involved, but I also don't see why Celtic would want to play Rangers in a friendly, because it's a bit pointless, isn't it? Especially in the middle of the season.
It's just all right, mate. All right. Money talks.
There's not going to be any bragging rights, so let's see if the team that wins, see if they don't win the league, like, nothing to brag about, is there?
It's like if Rangers win the league, the amount of Rangers fans that want to go to Australia. If Celtic win the league, the amount of fans that want to go to Australia. That's what's going to happen.
Imagine the flight's over, but man.
Segregated flights.
It could go that way, you're right, Grado. It could actually go that way.
Fucking, like, I don't know, man, like the Hoops bar and the Bristol bar, the minibuses turning up at Glasgow Airport at the same time.
Where the fuck are you going?
Celtic fans going on Ryanair, Rangers fans going on EasyJet.
You're on to play for the pies. So the game is very simple. I'm going to read out a description of a player. If you know the answer, you buzz in. First to two wins it. If you do buzz in, get it wrong, play hands to the other person. Now, I thought this week we'd go international. Everyone watched the penalty shootout, Liverpool versus Chelsea, with big Kevin missing it at the weekend. So I thought we'd talk about big penalty misses. So I'm going to give you the player description, and they've missed a big penalty. If you can guess the player, you get the point. First to two wins. Right, Scott, I'll give you the choice. Who would you like to play? Would you like to play Grado, Stephen, or Ryan?
I had a wee think. I would have loved to have played Toll, but I'm going to go with Grado. I love watching
What's the game again? What is it this week? John, I was listening there.
Well, of course you were. Right.
It's the fault I've missed a penalty.
International superstar penalty misses.
Oh, I can't do that.
Well, there you go, Scott. You've chosen the right man to take on. Right, okay, Scott, what will your buzzer be?
What's it, Silly?
It's got to be Ange Ball after this whole news this week, innit? So
Ange Ball, right. Grado.
Craig Moore!
Mate, I thought you were going to say Summer Bay.
Yeah, I met him at George Square, the Christmas lights switching on about
You
10
did
years
not,
ago.
did you?
He's a good guy, Craig. No, he's sound. Yeah, he's lovely, man.
Oh, we should have done. Someone should have said Neighbours, and someone should have said Home and Away for the buzzers this week.
I know.
Right.
Right, okay. Let's stick with the buzzers we have then.
Oh, Christ. Maybe next week.
Crazy. Right, okay. Right, penalty misses. Here we go, boys. This Stephen will know all these. I'm pretty sure he's going to be pretty good at this
I'm
one.
not going to get into them.
Right, here we go then. This penalty came in the Champions League semi-final during the decisive penalty shootout against Bayern Munich. Real Madrid's trusted defender blasted his penalty over the bar.
Craig Moore.
Craig Moore's in first, Grado.
Roberto Carlos.
No. Scott.
I'm going to go Sergio Ramos.
Sergio Ramos is the correct answer. Remember that one in the Bernabeu? Yeah.
But he's fucking deadly for his penalty spot usually as well.
What's this got to do with Scottish football?
It doesn't. Grado, see if
Because they always need to be about Scottish football, mate.
I know, for God's sake, right.
This is nice.
Next one. You ready for this, Grado?
No,
right. This French striker wanted the ground to swallow him up during the World Cup final in 2006, with Italy putting all 5 spot kicks away.
Ange Ball.
Yeah, Scott.
Is it Trezeguet?
It was Trezeguet, 2-0 spot.
Oh, destroyed Grado, man. Destroyed.
This is a fucking stitch up.
Mate, you're trying to rip the cunt out. You're trying to rip the cunt saying he's got a Gaza haircut, man. He's just pulled your beaks down.
You've always told me that you would protect me in this podcast. You've always told me that you would have my back and you would never expose me. You bastards. You might have done Euro 96, Gareth Southgate or something. I'd go that. Fuck off, man. Anyway, Scott, catch you, my man.
Hold on, Grado. I'll give you this one, right?
Let's go. Oh, look at me, man. Fucking hoodie's on. Let's game a wee stupid, man.
Right, okay. Do you want it or not?
No, easy then.
Okay. Arguably the most famous penalty in world football, this Italian handed Brazil the 1994 World Cup when he missed the target completely.
You're Italian, okay? This is...
Exactly.
Hold on. Wait to think, man.
With this penalty kick in the Rose Bowl.
Oh, fuck off, Grado. Come on.
Italian brethren, Grado.
Come on to fuck, man.
The Divine Ponytail had been the competition's best player, but he turned from
Baggio.
Yes.
The Italian comes out.
Thank fuckery,
Brilliant. Scott, listen, you win the pies. Congratulations.
Brilliant.
All the best, mate. I'll see you down under, mate, right?
Okay. That's how it goes ahead.
Aye.
If you
bye-bye.
Take care.
Head to piesports.com right now.
It's now time for Grado's 3 riddles on Football Daft. Welcome to another edition of Grado's 3 riddles. Scores currently possess are...
This is before, just go back.
The scores currently possess.
Did you
Who possesses the scores?
Did you do that just like Yogi Hughes? Did you got a Shri?
A Shree.
Aye, there's aye.
It reminds me of Paul. It reminds me of PJ, man. Now Stephen and Grado, you know, he always says that.
Does
Shree.
anyone else call, like, you know how you call a 2-2 a Desmond? Does anyone call a 3-3 a Yogi? A Shree?
Shree, nah.
Do you not say Shri, like, because it's a kind of, I take it, we get it in Ayrshire a lot of it, like my grandma say Shri. Shri a flower. Shri a flower them are doing there.
So is this Riddles, aye?
Aye, scores on the doors at the moment. Okay, before we start, we'll come to who won it. We got a message from Louise McBride. Now, who is Louise McBride? I hear you ask. He says, "Hiya, this is Dean's missus. Dean, winning." She goes, "The smart arse who's always solving all the riddles. Just to say thank you for the shout outs and mentions you've done for him. He's determined to get 10 right in a row and then he'll think about retiring. He's a big fan of the Football and Wrestling Daft podcast and regular, and he's also a member of Patreon. Keep up the good work and banter," says Louise.
Oh, that's funny, man. That's nice.
The question is...
So, why is that guy mentioning 10 in a row?
The question is, though, did Dean get another point on the board with last week's riddle? French City is not a good father. The answer was Lille, French City, Abada. You see what we did there? And the answer is Dino now has 8 points.
Oh.
So he's on fire.
Well played, Dean. Well played.
So
How does he do this? Like, how does he do that?
I don't know.
Because it's random now.
There's a lot of complaints coming in about it. But listen, if you need to be fast to get beat Dean. Right, so scoreboard, Alan McDonald won, Pat the Pallet Prick won, Declan Ramage won, Albert's Legend won, he complains about this all the time. John Mitchell won, Ian Meikle won, Jack won, Ryan Burnbar 2, producer Ryan's got 2, Nicola Purden's got 2, Dean has got 8, Stephen's got 17, I've got 18, and Chris has got 32, and Grado has 3 riddles.
Can only get 2.5. First, it's just one of the ones where if you listen to earlier in the show, I'm sure you heard, I actually forgot that I'd done this until we started recording, so these are pretty...
Welcome to this week's edition of Grado's 2.5 riddles.
Let's start with the first, okay, guys? Lying down with criminals. Lying down with criminals. Lying down. Hello?
Hi.
Yes, we're listening. We're thinking, Graham.
We're thinking.
Lying down with criminals.
Lying down with criminals.
It's really shite, man.
Is it one of your pure obscure ones?
No, it's really no.
No?
No.
Hey, hold on.
Right, well, I'll give you a clue.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was on the
I don't
telly
know.
last night.
Can't he? I have no idea, Grado. I'm tapping.
I reckon.
I'm not tapping yet.
I reckon Tom would have got this. Because Tom's the best, man.
Take that quote out of... Tom's the best, man.
Aye, fuck, I tap as well.
Aye, I'm out, man.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Matt Crooks.
Oh, he's meant to have had some game last night, man. Crooks, fuck you. Go to assist.
Not even one pop. This is running. This is running out of steam. This part of the show.
No, it's good.
Nah, that wasn't a good reaction.
It was good. I'm mattress and I liked it. It was good.
Right.
I'm a bit raging about it.
Cool. I'm moving it. Let me tell you the next one. Riddle 2. Petrol holder above my leg outside a fast food chain.
Say that again. Petrol holder.
Petrol holder above my leg outside a fast food chain.
Petrol holder. McDonald. Something McDonald. Scott. Yes. Jerry McDonald. With my leg. Jerry above my leg. Jerry Pan. Above my leg. Waist. Jerry Waist. Jerry Waist McDonald.
Oh man, these are so close.
Good effort, John.
Jerry
Pellini.
He's so close, man.
He's not that mentioned a while, man.
I don't know. Shout out to Jerry Pellini.
Ledley King.
I need to now stop this. I need to end this. It's getting fucking stupid now.
Who is it?
Because we're missing Toe.
I know.
The answer is Jerry McNee.
That's good.
Very good. I should have got that. Very
John, you were so close, man. Then you started talking about Nando's and fucking KFC.
Right, okay, last one.
Go then.
Really small Italian Francis.
Gianfranco Zola.
Nope.
Say it again.
Really small Italian Francis.
Franco Baresi.
Franco Baresi.
No.
No.
Do you know what? It might not be Italian for Francis, but you should. Fuck, it's the closest English name I can think that's like it.
Francesco Totti.
Ah, there we go.
Oh!
These are brilliant.
That was a good one, Grado.
No!
I'm level with John now.
Bastard.
It's Haiti. I'm backing again against John.
Oh man, I'm gutted about that. Right, okay, Grado, they were good. And listen, this feature has legs still. People love it.
Aye, people feel like this, man. My mate Bert's talking about it in the motor that night.
So much.
He thinks he's a demon at it.
I see all the super scoreboard boys in the office. I go in and say, I'll give you some of the riddles, and I give them. I say they're not as good as Grado's, though. There's no as good as Grado's.
Right.
Do you tell them my ones?
But I need to write them down. I say, you've got to listen to the podcast to get Grado's riddles. I mean, this feature's getting so popular now that even the listeners are contributing with riddles. And this one comes from Gordon McQueen, who sent us this on Twitter. You can get us at Football Daft Pod if you want to send one yourself. Botox guy died and went to the bad place, but still ended up on his feet.
Say it again.
Botox guy died and went to the bad place, but still ended up on his feet. Now hit the theme tune. It's time for the Football Daft moment of the week. Last week's results are in, and they are the tightest results we've had in the history of this feature. In last place, it was the listener's nomination of Fabrizio Romano's St Mirren Scoop. Remember when Fabrizio Romano broke the news on Stephen Robinson? That only got 1%. So what was in third? It was Stephen's nomination of McGee is back at Dundee.
I can't say Rangers anymore, man.
I know. 28.7% that got. So it went between Chris and Grado, and by a ball here, it was Chris's nomination of the perfect OG hat-trick. That got 29.2%, which means Grado is 2 in a row with his nomination of the Dundee United kids, giving the Rangers supporters the wanker sign live on Sky. So that is where we're at with that one. Congratulations, Grado. It even got the the cameraman who got that shot of the kids giving the wanker sign, even got involved with it and voted for his own shot. So there you go.
That's brilliant.
So well done, Grado.
That's brilliant.
You win, so you get to go first with your nomination for this week. What is it?
It has to be, without a doubt, wee guy going up to old Motley in the crowd, and he sticks a phone in Mark McGee's scooping, and he shites himself and runs away. It's amazing. I'm laughing thinking about it again, man, just because the shit that he's probably had to deal with, folk noising him up about that video. Probably everywhere he goes, folk mention that.
I don't. I don't think me, John, and Ryan need to put him on at the weekend now because that's a belter. That's the best.
Aye.
And it's the fact that you can just, everything runs through his head. You see him just looking at the wee guy in the camera, in the split seconds he's going, oh no, pure PTSD for the last time that happened. He gets up, stuns and runs away, man. It was a bit like that. We mentioned the Charlie Christie thing, me running away for the computer. It's like that, you're running away.
It's brilliant. Absolutely.
I would like to see the wee guy's footage.
I seen somebody tweeted after it, they shared a video and saying a phone is Mark McGee's kryptonite.
That was you and Cameron. They wrote that.
You and Cameron stole it from someone else because I saw someone else tweeting it and you and Cameron stole it.
That's funny.
Just like his usual part.
I've seen somebody else, not you.
Banter thief that he is. Right, okay. Stephen, what's yours?
I'm going to just go with the SFA being the latest football association to say they will not play Russia at any level.
Oh, that's waiting for he's waiting for the big sympathy vote there. He's waiting for the big.
Hey, it's been a tough week in the world, and I think it's what the SFA don't have many sensible statements or anything, but this was one of the better ones. Standing alongside like Wales and all that, saying we're at no level will we play Russia. So yes, that's my
right. Okay, Ryan, you got one.
I'm just saying, is that a good Rangers man picking the SFA there? That's
exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. And then next thing you'll hear is fucking Rangers and Celtic playing each other in Australia.
Right, Ryan, what are you going for?
Right, Grado didn't pick mine, but it does also involve Mark McGee. But I don't know if you've seen it. Livingston's TikTok the other day.
Oh, they ribbed him, didn't they?
Oh, I heard about this, but I've no saw it.
I'll post it in the chat now for you, right?
Brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I think it's when they scored their fourth goal or something like that against Dundee at the weekend, and just before the boy takes a shot, it just flashes up Mark McGee's. Get that tape, and then they score, and whatever, you can hear it there.
It's brilliant.
That'll be our mate.
I'll watch that again.
Yeah.
That might win. That might beat yours, Grado.
And that'll be our mate Dave, who we had on the podcast the other week there. That'll be him.
That's right.
Together.
Aye.
Right. Well, I think this one has to go up for the listeners' moment of the week. It comes from Jordan Thompson, who's been on the show a couple of times. Everyone, I think, saw this. The Port Glasgow game, the referee headbutting
oh my God,
the manager. He's been a bit wide in the touchline, and he's went over and nutted the boy. I think it was Port Glasgow versus Seaton Darvel. I think it was
something like that, mate. But he did not fucking miss him. He didn't miss him, man.
Belter. Belter.
Is there any come out about it? Like any wee stories that what happened?
I don't know. I don't know what was said, but I think the police are actually now looking into it. So
I think I seen the other day apparently he's getting the sack. The guy, the ref.
What for?
That was for being a ref.
no, I just thought you were because
being cool, mate.
I mean, no, I get that. Being a referee.
Ryan's response is right, man. What fee? Being a ref.
Imagine they brought it into fit middle. Imagine that was a thing, man. Imagine like an old firm game, somebody just getting wide the ball with Madman, they just fucking nuts them.
Yeah. Do you know who wasn't far away for that back in the day? Pierluigi Collina. He was the best. He died. They fucked with him. Was he related to you and all, Grado?
That's my godfather.
Right, okay, so that is your nomination.
He was a page boy at my papa's wedding, man.
Right.
Imagine Grado was related to Collina.
Right, Grado, what's your nomination for this week?
Oh, mobile phone, Mickey.
Stephen, what's yours?
We will not play Russia.
Ryan.
I was going to go for Livy Shithouse.
Aye, that's a good one.
And we'll go for the listener nomination from Jordan. The ref goes nuts. So, what is your football daft moment of the week? Getting on it now on our Twitter. Remember, you can get more content from Football Daft on our Patreon channel. You'll get that at patreon.com. That's patreon.com/football daft. Loads of stuff up there for you to enjoy. You'll get the video version of this podcast. You'll see Grado in his Metallica t-shirt, which Stephen actually quite likes. Even
It was nice. I like Metallica as well.
Yeah.
Name 3 songs.
Nothing else matters. I like the way Miley Cyrus done that as well. Enter Sandman.
So yeah, you get to see that, the video version of this podcast. You also get the video versions of Rangers and Celtic Daft up there as well. The outtakes from the show. You'll get our teammates or our past teammates from the interviews that we've done. Remember when we did interviews? We need to get back to that, and we keep saying that. Cameos from the boys. Chance to come into the studio. Once we're back in the studio, get that chance as well. There's lots of there on there for offer for you, and you can decide what tier you want by signing up to patreon.com/football daft. And talking of our teammates, it provided one of the funniest moments this show has ever had when Charlie Christie came on. One of the best outtakes we've ever had when we were talking about him, and Grado then wandered off because he was still on the call. And you've got to go back and see that. Inverness legend Ryan Starr. It is Charlie Christie.
Worst dressed?
Without a doubt, Barry Robson. Oh my, you could tell Baz, who came up here as a young boy from Rangers, you could tell he's from Inverurie, lads, I'll tell you.
he's been said before for that, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been said before, aye.
Yeah, boot cut jeans and all that, isn't he?
Oh, he's unbelievable, absolutely, aye. Cowboy shirts, and he thinks he's some kid, aye.
Moaniest?
Oh, I've got to go with, he's actually at the club at the moment as a coach, Barry Wilson. He was a greeting-faced so-and-so in the park. He really was. He's one of these boys that would rather get beat 4-3 and get a hat-trick than win 2-1 and no score. You know? He used to stand out that right wing and greet his face off. He wasn't involved in the game, so he's right up there.
Who do you want to back you up in a fight?
I'll tell you, it's funny you should say that, because I actually played centre midfield, and the managers at Cali Thistle, I wasn't the most, I didn't cover much grass in a match day, let's say, so I needed a bit of a minder beside me, and we had 2 or 3 over my time in midfield, but we had a boy, Paul Cherry. He came up, he played with St Johnstone. He's actually now out in Mercia. He's made the right decision. He's out in the sun selling houses, but Paul Cherry, he was a good minder actually, and when the going got a bit tough, he was always be in there to look after you, to be fair.
Best looking?
Oh, for the love of Christ, you've obviously not seen Cali Thistle players. I'll tell you who used to, well, obviously I was, the 2 years I was at Celtic, I had Mr McAvenny, who fancied himself a wee bit, and but there was a right back at that time. He was the last man to leave the change room. I don't know if you remember him. You lads may be too young. A boy, Chrissy Morris.
Morris, aye. I remember
Chris Morris played with Celtic. He was a bit Rico Suave, you know. So he'd be right up there.
Teacher's pet?
Well, the teacher's pet's Paul Sheeran. Oh my God, that's Steve Patterson. You know, he's a famous manager up here. Steve, brilliant manager, who also liked 20 pints of Guinness after a game. But Paul Sheeran was his blue-eyed boy. It was yes or no, and of course Paul scored a penalty against Celtic in that goal ballistic night, so he was even more the blue-eyed boy after that. But he's right up there, Paul.
I'm sure we'll talk about that night a wee bit later.
We'll talk about that night soon, man. We'll get to that night. That must have been credit in the bank, though, scoring a penalty that night for him.
Brilliant. Fair play. He was shooed in for another 4-year contract.
Most skillful?
I played well, obviously the 2 years I was at Celtic, lads, I played with likes of McStay, who was different class, you know. Paul's probably the best player I've ever lined up with in that team. Incredible player. Up in Inverness, we had a boy, Dennis Winus, who was tremendous ability.
I remember him.
He's a number 10 sort of player, Dennis, and really good player. I played up front with him quite about half a season myself, and he was really skillful. So I'd say Dennis and Paul McStay were two geniuses with football.
Worst trainer?
Worst trainer? Well, there's been a few, by the way. There's been a few, but one of the worst guys I've ever seen at training was when I was actually first team coach. We got a boy, big Alec McLeish, was manager of Rangers, and he sent I think the lad was Turkish, a boy Bayram Fetay, up to go on loan and play for Cali Thistle, get a bit of game time. He wasn't getting in the scene at Rangers, so Big X sent him up here. I think he knew Craig Brewster quite well. Brew was our manager, and the boy managed within the first week of training. He managed to stick the head in two people. And that's a true story, by the way. We know the Turks are a wee bit fiery, but so he's got to be, certainly within 4 days. I've never seen anyone become so unpopular in my life.
Imagine going on loan, man, after 4 days sticking the heat onto it.
I've gone on loan, and within 4 days he's put the head in two different players.
McLeish phoning Brewster, how's the boy getting on? Well,
brilliant, aye.
Let me tell you.
Is he ready to come back to Ibrox High tomorrow?
Who never gets the round in?
Stick on here. Richard Hastings.
Right.
He played with us. He was a left back, Canadian internationalist. Oh, for the love of God, lads. Seeing the players' night out. We had a fancy dress one Christmas night out, as football teams do. We all had to dress up fancy dress, so we all made a bit of an effort, some really good ones. And Richard Hastings comes in with just a white coat on, and we couldn't figure it out. Goes, Richard, what are you? And he says, I'm George Clooney out of VR. And I think, honest to Christ. But he was unbelievable, honestly, trying to get him. I don't think he's ever seen a bad in his puff.
I love that he turned it up, man. Obviously I'm George Clooney for ER.
More like George Formby.
Biggest bam-up merchant?
I'll give him credit. We've mentioned him already, but he was great. Cracking change room was Barry Robson. He was different class, lads. His last day, he actually had this arranged with the manager against Steve Patterson. I think before he went to United, I think it was. He got taken off in the 70th minute, 20 minutes to go. He asked to be taken off. He nips into the changing room and cuts everybody's clothing up.
Oh, no way.
We're all putting our socks on. They're coming right through. We're putting our shirts on. There's a big diamond cut out the back of your club shirt. He was brilliant wind-up. He was good crack. Really quick-witted lad,
Top shagger?
Oh, Christ almighty. Well, his nickname's Trigger, right? His nickname's Trigger. That tells you out with Only Fools and Horses. Right. A boy, Scott McLean. He's from Glasgow. He came up and played up here for a few seasons. Great player. Poor lad did his ACL. Actually probably put an end to his career, but he came up here as a 21, 22-year-old lad. Oh my God. He was out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I used to say to him...
And Inverness?
I believe it or not, we did. I don't know where he was going on Monday night in Inverness, by the way. And I used to turn around to him and say, "You remembering I've got cousins up in this area. You watch where you're dipping your wick, He was. I used to go out the weekends and I would talk to people. Obviously, I know a lot of people up here. I'd talk to him, and all he would bring up is this name, Scott McLean. He did some damage up here over the 3 years. I'll tell you.
Brilliant.
Best you've played with?
Well, I Paul McStay. He is. I was lucky enough that 2 years I went away with a pre-season trip with Celtic to Switzerland and Italy, and we played some top European sides. And I started a couple of games on that tour. And Paul obviously played. He was a mainstay in that team that won the double in '88. So he's certainly probably the best footballer I've ever played. And he was very loyal to Celtic, as you lads will probably know. Looking back, that he had the chance to go to Liverpool, I think, mid-80s, and he stayed with Celtic. And obviously football was a different game then. Obviously it was a lot more loyalty involved in the game, but he was a fantastic player. Never got the credit he was due. Didn't quite maybe reach the heights with Scotland at times, and he got a bit of stick for that. But he wasn't playing in the greatest team for Scotland. He didn't have a lot of quality around about him at that time, but fantastic, and a great guy too.
So that's it for this week's Football Daft. Thank you very much for listening, Ryan. Thank you for coming in as a substitute for Toe. Appreciate that.
Time, mate. He's at it.
Ryan. I remember when I was moving house and getting stuff done and all that. You know what I mean? Fucking, it wasn't allowed as an excuse. You know what I mean? Toe's fucking butterfly one.
Ryan, you've got COVID and you're still doing it, for God's sake.
Fresh COVID and all, mate.
If you want the video version, check us out, patreon.com/football daft. Review on Apple or wherever you get a podcast, really appreciate that. Looking at this week's fixtures, boys, Dundee United versus Hearts on Saturday. It's going to be a good game, Stephen, you're right. Dundee United versus Hearts, where do you think that one's going?
I fancy the Arabs.
Fancy the Arabs, right? Yeah, right. So, Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to say, mate, go with Arabs.
Arabs in that one. Grado. 3 home ones, yeah?
Yeah, 3 home ones.
Yeah.
3 home ones. Hibs versus St Johnstone.
Oh, I think. Do you know what? It's always the same. See, when any team takes points off either of Old Firm, I bet you St Johnstone beat Hibs now, right?
But hold on, St Johnstone have they 10 points off Rangers?
No, Hibs just took points off Celtic. So when you get a good result, I'm saying when a team gets a good result,
about the full SPL card tonight.
I know.
So that is. That's right.
Bye. Hibs versus St Johnstone. What? So
getting all carried away myself.
Yeah, Hibs versus St Johnstone Saturday. Home wins, draws.
I'm going to go St Johnstone win.
St Johnstone away win.
Aye.
I think Hibs.
Hibs. Ryan.
I'll go Hibs.
Motherwell Dundee.
Dundee.
Them on earlier on.
Dundee.
Wow. Big.
I don't know.
Motherwell. I'll go Motherwell.
I was kidding on Motherwell.
Ryan.
Motherwell all day. Motherwell.
Rangers Aberdeen on Saturday as well. 3 o'clock kickoff. That's an anomaly.
Rangers.
Ryan.
Draw.
Oh. Grado, I take it you're taking a home one there as well.
Aye, home win.
Ross County St Mirren. That's
I'll be tasty, man. I'm going to go Ross County.
Ross County. Ryan.
I go County. County are playing well, don't they?
Grado.
County are playing well.
Grado's checked out, everyone. And on Sunday, it's Livingston versus Celtic. Now, what's a tougher game? Livy away or Aberdeen at home?
Livy away.
Livy away.
Livy away, aye.
Honestly, like, if you spoke to me on Saturday there, I'm like, get through these 2 games, away to Hibs and away to Livy, and then I'd be confident about the league after that. We faltered at the first one. We've also got St Mirren at home tonight when we're recording, so we don't know how that one's went. But them 2 games, mate, are absolute torture. Easter Road and the Tony Mac.
Yeah. So what are we thinking score-wise, Stephen?
5-0 Celtic.
5-0 Celtic. Stephen?
Livy win.
Oh, Grado.
Livy win.
Grado's gone. Right, so that's it for this week's Football Daft. Right, so what are we calling this week's episode? I've got
There's only one thing we can call it, man.
Aye.
I want to stay forever. Oh, fuck that.
Why is it no? Why don't you call it Cross There Each Day? No.
Well, we just
say Cross There Each Day. Is that what they say?
We just call it home and away then, aye.
Aye. Because it's topical for football, no?
Yeah, that works. Everybody needs good neighbours. Right, brilliant. That's it. Thank you very much for listening to Football Daft. We'll see you on the next one.
Tatty bye, guys.